So this was about a month ago, and I know I'm a little bit behind the curve here, but there was a new gaming handheld announced. It is from one of my favorite companies, actually probably my favorite hardware company manufacturer for PC is MSI. They're coming out with their first gaming handheld, which is no surprise. I mean, everybody seems like they're trying to get in the market now. But this one does have some unique qualities that I'm really actually pretty excited about. Not only is this a 7-inch screen with a 1080p display up to 120 hertz, which is pretty awesome. This is the first gaming handheld to use the Intel, I don't want to get it wrong, the Intel XES technology. So basically it's going to have an Intel integrated graphics chip, and it's actually really interesting. I was not expecting that. I was expecting them to do the same route, go AMD APU like all the other gaming handheld manufacturers did, but this is the first one that's actually using the Intel chip. And one of the first things I thought of when I actually saw this was, this is where Intel needs to be. Intel for the longest time was dominating the laptop market, meaning that everything had Intel integrated graphics, which was great. Only in recent memory did they start actually doing NVIDIA graphics or NVIDIA dedicated graphics in some of these laptops, some of these gaming laptops more specifically. But still, even to this day, Intel has really dominated this market of laptops. So it made sense that they would have a chip designed for a gaming handheld. And I'm glad that MSI is actually the first one to try that, because I think it's pretty cool and it makes sense. I was actually wondering why Intel was not in the game with this, and apparently they're getting in. So it makes me wonder if any of the future iterations of some of these second generations of some of these gaming handhelds are gonna actually input Intel, or if they're gonna stick with AMD. It's actually gonna be pretty interesting. But some other things to talk about is that it has a 53 watt battery, which from what I understand is the biggest battery so far. I'm not sure if the Legion Go has the bigger battery, but I'm pretty sure that this is the biggest one. I didn't actually look at that, but it's definitely bigger than the Steam Deck. They're using Gen 4 M.2, which is pretty self-explanatory. They're also doing DDR5, which is great. I'm actually glad for that on the RAM side. The thing weighs about 675 grams, which is kind of in the middle, I believe. I think it's not quite as light as the Steam Deck, but it's still not as heavy as the Legion Go, which is great. It's using the Windows operating system like the other ones. The only one to use differently, which is Linux, is the Steam Deck. So that's no surprise there. So Windows 11. The price is going to start at $699 and go up to $799. And this is pretty much the going rate for these at this point. I think the Steam Deck came out, the first one came out, it was $699 was the highest one, and then it went down to $399. So I don't think we're going to see that again. They're going to be mostly in this range, so this is kind of commonplace for these. So I don't think it's egregious. And then it claimed, the thing that on the site, and this is directly from the site, is that they claim to play AAA games extremely well. And I know that seems pretty broad, but that was the thing they talked about, is that you're going to be able to play AAA games pretty fluidly on this thing. And that's pretty cool, I guess. So far to date, the Asus and the Legion Go do play them pretty well. I wouldn't say it's great, but they play them pretty well. If you were to add the external graphics onto the Asus ROG Ally, you can actually get a full-on, amazing high frame rate gaming experience. But to this point, the AAA games have ran okay on most of them. For the Steam Deck, it's been a little bit behind, but again, that's just kind of subjective. So I don't know. We'll see how this does, but they're saying it runs great, so we'll see how that does. But yeah, I'm just excited. So again, I'm a big MSI fan. You can call me a fanboy, but I do like their products. I think they make great products. My motherboard is an MSI motherboard, and I way overpaid for it. And yeah, it's one of those things where I was wondering when they were going to get into it, and then I'm wondering which other companies are going to get into the handheld space, because it's just starting to explode and we're starting to get more and more varieties. And I'm curious to see which ones are going to take advantage of these Intel chips, because I really do feel like that if anybody can make a really powerful integrated graphics chip, it's Intel, because they've done it before on laptops, and I felt like that it was weird that they hadn't gotten into the space yet. So I'm curious to see if the next generation of the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, or the Legion Go, if they're going to implement these chips, or if they're going to stay with AMD. So anyways, that's my initial thoughts on that. There's nothing really to say on it. There's no release date. There was some videos on it, but not really a ton of testing. But I imagine here over the next couple of months, we'll see some review samples go out, and we'll be able to see some people test them out. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they actually do with AAA gaming, because if this thing can run AAA games pretty well, I might be tempted to buy it when it comes out. I don't know. We'll see what happens.